Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to go through how to set up a very basic JSON hello world with Express. To kick things off, I need to create a location for all of my code to reside. And to do that, I need to navigate to where I store a lot of my projects. And I'll make a directory called Gravity. To start any node project, it's best to use the command npm init. This will create a package.json file properly formatted with all the required information to begin. I'll specify the name of the application, the semantic version number, basic description of my application. The entry point is what file is going to run my main server. So simply giving it a path of where I'm going to be placing that file is how to respond to that. Next up is test command. Since I'm not running any unit tests yet, I'm just going to press enter. Again, I don't have a Git repository, enter, and for some basic keywords, I'll just throw those in there. Author is Chris Chapman, and the format of this does look proper, so I'm going to press yes. And then just open up the current directory in your preferred IDE. I have Atom shortcutted from the command line. So note that my directory is loaded into my editor and I can see my package.json folder. I'm going to go ahead and create a source folder to house all of my source code. And then via the command line, I'm just going to create my server file inside of the source folder. So just to make sure that everything's working fine, I'm going to open up my server file and put in a console log with hello world. I'm then going to run that with the command node and then the path to that file in terminal and see that it does in fact console log out hello world. So we could go through the effort of looking up in Node how to use the HTTP module and build out our server that way. However, Express very nicely streamlines that whole process. So we'll bake Express in from the very beginning here. To do that, we need to install the Node module for Express. Using the command npm install express -- save will perform the install. Having the flag save actually adds it to our package.json file for future use. That's super critical when we hand this project off to another teammate because the package.json file tells their machine what packages to go and download. If you install a package without save, it installs it to your machine for your environment only. So as you progress through Node, you need to think every time that you install something, is this install crucial for this project that I'm working on? In just a minute, we'll talk about a package called NodeMon that helps you speed up your development process. This is a great example of something that helps you speed up your process, but is not critical for the project. Therefore, it should not be saved to the package.json file. So let's go ahead and rebuild server.js to get up and running with Express. To kick off, we need to require the Express module that we npm install. So var express equals require express. Notice that in this require, I'm just requiring the nickname express. Node knows to go look through the node modules for that nickname. Alternatively, and in other videos, we'll have require go and look up specific files and include those direct files. But in this situation, it's just requiring the module. As per Express's documentation, we need to instantiate Express, and we'll just use the variable app equals Express. The way that the Express framework works is we continually manipulate app as it is our whole web server. So here we can very simply say app.listen, and then we're going to specify a port number and an anonymous function to execute while it's listening. And we'll just make a log saying that the server is running and identify the port that it's running on. To start up our server, just go to your terminal, type in node, followed by the file path, and you should see the server listening on port 3000. And 3000 is just an arbitrary number I've picked. You can also change that to 9000 or something else. But then you might notice that your console log message differs from the actual port. So let's be good programmers and rig this all up to a variable. So let's take a step back and look at our workflow as it's kind of cumbersome. Every time I change my server file, I have to press Control-C to end my node script and then relaunch it with node and the file path again. As I'm making constant changes and want to test things, this is going to dramatically slow me down. But there's a package out there, several actually, but we'll focus on just one, that are geared to improve your productivity and will watch your server file for any changes and will automatically reload node for you. So let's use the node package manager to install NodeMon. So npm install -g NodeMon. I say -g because I want to install this globally. Installing a package is just fine if I'm going to use it on my server.js file or any other node file, so long as I require it. However, from the command line, I don't have the ability to require anything. So if I want a package to be able to access the command line, I need to install it globally. Notice also that I'm not saving. As I mentioned before, we only want to save to the package.json file critical packages for our application. NodeMon is not a critical application, it just helps us with our workflow. And on top of that, anything globally installed cannot be saved directly to the package.json file, because the package.json file basically has a list of all local dependencies, not global. So after that's installed, where you would previously say node in the file path, say nodemon and then the file path, and nodemon kicks in by setting up a watcher to run your node file. As it's watching your files, as it sees any changes or any saves, it will automatically recompile and relaunch. So getting back to Express, currently we have a web server listening to our specified port, but we're not serving anything. To fix that, we can tell Express to listen to a specific route. In this situation, let's set up a get route for just slash, or our index page. Using the get method on app, we set the route that we're going to pay attention to, slash, define an anonymous function, which is fed a request and response variable, or rather parameter. And inside of that function, we can call the JSON method of response and respond to the request with an object. The object I'm going to build here is healthy with true. Very simple, just to let us know that the API route works. Upon hitting save, opening this up in a browser, we are able to see that the JSON object does come through. And there we have our basic hello world with Express, with a little bit of supporting information. Thanks for watching.